All right, are you ready to unlock your cosmic roadmap for 2025? We're diving deep into an astrological forecast, checking out those major planetary movements and, figuring out what they could mean for all of you out there.
It's like peeking at the year's energy currents before you even set sail, right?
Exactly. And speaking of currents, I see Mars retrograde is still going strong in early 2025, ending February 23rd in Cancer. So no major moves right away.
Well, hold on. I'd say think of Mars retrograde less as a red light and more like a yellow, a time to, fine-tune your engine before hitting the gas in the new year, especially for you.
Yeah, since Mars retrograde is in Cancer, which really is all about emotions and a home, maybe use this time to reflect on your goals, how they align with what truly matters to you.
Okay, so checking in with ourselves before charging ahead. Got it. But then things pick up in January, right? Our source mentions the nodes of destiny shifting into Pisces and Virgo on January 11th. So what does that even mean, and how might it affect me? Now, this is a big one. The nodes of destiny, they're like signposts on your karmic path, pointing towards growth areas, The North Node in Pisces, well, that invites you to dive into your dreams, intuition, and spirituality. It's about thinking about what truly inspires you. It's a time to tap into your creativity and connect with your inner self.
Sounds dreamy. But how do I stay grounded while I'm exploring my intuition? Like, what's that look like in real life?
Well, that's where the South Node in Virgo comes in. Virgo, you see, is all about practicality and self-improvement. Think of it as finding a balance between the mystical and the mundane. It's about taking inspired action, channeling that Piscean energy into tangible steps, and refining your skills while you're at it.
Right, I'm seeing the balance here. So daydreaming with a purpose. Now, we can't talk about astrology without mentioning Mercury retrograde. It happens 3 times in 2025, right?
3 times, yeah. We have March 15th to April 7th straddling Aries and Pisces, then July 18th to August 11th in Leo, and finally November 9th to 29th dipping into both Sagittarius and Scorpio.
Okay, that's a lot of Mercury retrograde. And I know it often brings communication snafus and delays, but instead of just dreading it, are there ways we can actually use this energy to our advantage?
Absolutely. You can think of it as like a cosmic redo button. It's the perfect time to revisit old projects, reconnect with people from your past, or, simply slow down and reflect. For example, that Mercury retrograde in Leo in July, well, that might be a good time to reassess a creative project or to, reconnect with your inner child and have some fun.
Turning cosmic lemons into lemonade. I like it. Speaking of powerful cosmic events, what about eclipses in 2025? There are 4 of them on the calendar.
Yes, you see, eclipses are like astrological power surges that can accelerate growth and change. We have a lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 14th, followed by a solar eclipse in Aries on March 29th. Then later in the year, there's a lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th, and a solar eclipse in Virgo on September 21st.
So we have eclipses in both Virgo and Aries, 2 very different signs. What kind of energy can we expect from this combination, particularly for me?
Well, Virgo, you see, is all about order, details, and self-improvement, while Aries is about action, courage, and new beginnings. Having eclipses in these signs suggests a push and pull between refining what we have and boldly taking a leap forward. It's a time to reassess your routines, prioritize your well-being, and maybe even step outside your comfort zone to pursue something new.
Okay, things are getting interesting. Now, what about other planetary players making moves in 2025? I know we've got Venus retrograde, Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, and Jupiter changing signs.
Yeah.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It is indeed. Let's start with Venus retrograde, which happens from March 1st to April 12th, moving from Aries into Pisces. This is a time for you to, reassess your relationships, your values. It might have you rethinking what you truly desire, how you express love.
So some potential shakeups in the love department.
Perhaps, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. This retrograde is about getting clear on your needs and desires, whether that means deepening existing connections or letting go of what no longer serves you.
Interesting. And what about Neptune in Aries? What should we be mindful of during that transit?
Neptune in Aries from March 30th to October 22nd can be a period of, heightened intuition and creativity. You might be drawn to spiritual pursuits or experience a surge of artistic inspiration. But Neptune also rules illusions, so it's important to stay grounded and not get carried away by unrealistic expectations.
So chase those dreams, but with a healthy dose of reality. Now, Saturn in Aries, that sounds like a bit of a paradox. How does that energy play out?
Saturn, the planet of structure and discipline, enters fiery Aries from May 24th to September 1st. This is a time for focused action and commitment. It might bring challenges, but it also helps you develop resilience and build something lasting. Think of it as a cosmic boot camp for your goals.
Got it. So roll up your sleeves and get to work. But then things seem to lighten up a bit when Jupiter moves into Cancer in June.
Yes, Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, brings its joyful energy to Cancer from June 9th onwards. This could be a time of emotional growth, nurturing relationships, and finding comfort in home and family.
So the first half of the year is about taking action and building structure, and then the second half is about nurturing and expanding our emotional world.
That's a great way to put it. And we can't forget about Uranus, the planet of change and innovation, dipping into Gemini from July 7th to November 7th. This could bring unexpected shifts and a desire for more freedom and authenticity. You might feel inspired to break free from old patterns and embrace your unique individuality.
Wow, this is a lot to digest already. And I know our listeners are probably wondering how all of this cosmic weather will impact their individual lives.
Well, let's not keep them waiting any longer. Let's dive into the individual horoscopes for 2025 and see what the stars have in store for you.
Yes, this is where it gets really exciting. Buckle up, everyone, as we decode your personalized astrological forecast for 2025. All right, so we've talked about the big astrological weather patterns of 2025, but now let's zoom in on why you. Remember, while we're focusing on your sun sign, a complete astrological picture that takes into account your entire birth chart.
That's right. Your sun sign is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a great starting point for understanding how these transits might, play out in your life.
Perfect. So let's start with the fire signs: Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. If you're one of these signs, what can you expect in 2025?
Aries, remember that Mars retrograde we talked about? Well, as the year kicks off, it's, finishing up its journey in your sign. You might be feeling a bit restless or frustrated as things wrap up.
So how can an Aries best navigate those early months of the year?
Well, instead of trying to force things, use this time to reflect on what you truly want, what needs to change to align with your goals, with your values. Once Mars goes direct in late February, you'll be ready to take action with, renewed purpose.
Great advice. And what about later in the year? I see Neptune and Saturn are both spending time in Aries.
Yes, both Neptune and Saturn enter Aries in the spring, creating a dynamic push and pull between dreams and reality. Neptune in Aries can inspire you to think big and pursue your passions. This could be a time of heightened creativity and spiritual exploration.
Sounds exciting. But what about Saturn in Aries? Doesn't Saturn tend to bring challenges and limitations?
Well, Saturn does like to test our limits, but it's also the planet of mastery. Think of it this way, Aries. Neptune is whispering in your ear, dream big, anything is possible. And Saturn is right there saying, okay, but how are you going to make it happen? Show me the plan.
I love that. It's about having both the vision and the discipline to make those dreams a reality. Now, what about Leos? What does 2025 have in store for the Lions of the Zodiac?
Leos, you're in for a year of expansion and connection. With Jupiter in Gemini until June, your social life is likely to, sparkle. This is a time to connect with friends, network, and explore new interests. Don't be surprised if you find yourself drawn to travel and learning new things.
So Leos should be ready for some fun and adventure. But I see Mercury retrograde is in Leo in July. What should they watch out for during that time?
Yeah, well, that Mercury retrograde in July, that could bring some communication hiccups, especially in, creative projects or romantic relationships. It's a good time to review your self-expression and make sure you're communicating your needs clearly.
All right, Leos, take note. Clarity is key during that Mercury retrograde. Now, what about Sagittarius? What adventures await these freedom-loving archers in 2025?
Sagittarius, get ready for a year of finding balance. The nodes of destiny are highlighting your career and home life, encouraging you to create a life that feels both, fulfilling and grounded.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between chasing your dreams and creating a stable foundation.
Exactly. You might be drawn to exploring new career paths or taking on leadership roles, but at the same time, you'll be craving a sense of home and stability. This is a year to define what success means to you and create a life that reflects your values.
Okay, that's great advice for Sagittarius. Now, let's move on to the earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. What's shaking for these grounded souls in 2025?
Taurus, prepare for a year of reevaluation and deep connection. Venus retrograde in March and April occurs in Aries and Pisces, which, could bring up past relationships and unfinished business.
So a time for some soul searching in matters of the heart.
It could be, yeah. Use this time to reflect on your values and what you truly desire in a partner. Don't be afraid to have those heart-to-heart conversations or even reconnect with someone from your past.
Interesting. And what about later in the year for Taurus? I see Jupiter is moving into Cancer.
Yes. Jupiter in Cancer from June onwards brings its expansive energy to your communication sector. This is a time for heartfelt conversations with loved ones, expressing your creativity, and perhaps even taking a short trip or two.
Sounds like a lovely period for Taurus. Now, what about Virgo? I know there are 2 eclipses happening in their sign this year.
That's right. Eclipses in Virgo are a big deal for you, especially with your meticulous nature and love of order. The lunar eclipse in March and the solar eclipse in September could bring, significant changes to your routines and overall well-being.
So Virgos might be feeling a bit out of their comfort zone.
Perhaps. But remember, eclipses are catalysts for growth, even if the process can feel intense. This is a time to reassess your priorities, let go of what's no longer serving you, and embrace new ways of, taking care of yourself.
Great advice for Virgos. Now, what about Capricorn? What themes will be prominent for them in 2025?
Capricorn. With Saturn, your ruling planet, making a brief visit to Aries from May to September, you might find yourself focusing on family matters and creating a sense of security at home.
So a time for nesting and strengthening those family bonds.
It could be. You might be drawn to spending more time with loved ones, tackling home improvement projects, or even delving into your family history.
Interesting. It seems like a good time for Capricorns to connect with their roots. Now let's flow into the water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. What's in store for these intuitive souls in 2025?
Cancer, get ready for a year of emotional growth and expansion. Jupiter enters your sign in June, bringing opportunities for abundance, joy, and personal fulfillment.
That sounds wonderful. What areas of life will be most affected by this Jupiter transit?
Well, Jupiter expands everything it touches, so you might experience growth in your career, relationships, or personal development. It's a time to embrace your nurturing nature and allow your intuition to, guide you.
So Cancer should trust their gut and go after what they want.
Exactly. Now, earlier in the year, you might face some challenges as Neptune and Saturn square your sun sign. This could bring, some doubts and insecurities to the surface.
So how can a Cancer best navigate those potentially tricky transits?
Lean on your support system during these times, Cancer. Don't be afraid to reach out for help and connect with those who lift you up. Remember, you're stronger than you think. Now, Scorpio, what transformative experiences await you in 2025? Scorpio, Pluto continues its journey through your sign, intensifying your desire for self-discovery and transformation. This transit can be intense, but it's ultimately helping you shed old patterns and step into your power.
So Scorpios are going through a deep metamorphosis. What can they do to embrace this process?
Embrace vulnerability, Scorpio. Don't be afraid to explore the depths of your emotions and face your shadows. This is a time for, profound healing and growth. And with the North Node moving into Pisces, you might also feel drawn to creative pursuits and connecting with your inner child.
So it's about finding a balance between intense introspection and playful self-expression.
You got it. Now, Pisces, with the North Node in your sign for the next year and a half, you're being called to step into your power and embrace your dreams.
That sounds exciting. What kind of opportunities might arise for Pisces during this time?
This is a time for major spiritual growth and soul evolution, Pisces. You might find yourself drawn to new spiritual practices, exploring your intuition, or even pursuing creative projects that align with your soul's purpose.
So Pisces should be ready to embrace their intuitive and creative side.
Absolutely. And with Neptune, your ruling planet, transiting through Aries, you might have some ambitious ideas and a desire to, make those dreams a reality.
So it's about dreaming big and then taking inspired action to make it happen.
Exactly. Now let's wrap up with the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. What's blowing in the wind for these intellectual and social butterflies in 2025?
Okay, air signs, let's see what the stars have in store for you. Gemini, I know Jupiter's in your sign for the first part of the year. What can they expect during that time?
Gemini, with Jupiter in your sign until June, you're likely to feel, optimistic, expansive, and ready for adventure. This is a time for learning, connecting with new people, and broadening your horizons.
So Geminis should embrace their curiosity and go explore the world.
Exactly. This is a time for saying yes to new experiences and expanding your knowledge. You might even consider, taking a class, learning a new skill, or traveling to a place you've always wanted to visit.
Sounds like a lot of fun. But I see Uranus is also visiting Gemini later in the year. What can they expect during that transit?
From July to November, Uranus dips into Gemini, bringing a taste of the unexpected. You might feel a sudden urge to break free from routines, experiment with your self-expression, or even make, some radical changes in your life.
It's a bit of a shakeup for Gemini.
It could be. But remember, Uranus is the planet of innovation and liberation. It's about embracing your individuality and breaking free from anything that's holding you back from being your authentic self.
Great advice for Gemini. Now, what about Libra? I see Neptune is spending some time in their partnership sector.
Libra, get ready for a year of romance and enchantment. With Neptune in Aries activating your partnership sector, your relationships are likely to take on a dreamy, idealistic quality.
So is this a year for finding true love?
It could be, but it's important to remember that Neptune can also bring illusions. So while it's a wonderful time to connect with your heart's desires, make sure you're not projecting unrealistic expectations onto your partner.
Good advice for Libra. And what about Saturn's influence on their relationships?
Saturn in Aries from May to September might have you reassessing the structure and commitments in your relationships. This could be a time for defining boundaries, having those important conversations, or even making a commitment to take things to the next level.
Okay, Libra, time to DTR. Now let's finish up with Aquarius. What's on the horizon for these innovative air signs in 2025?
Aquarius, prepare for a year of self-discovery and unexpected shifts. Uranus, your ruling planet, gives you a sneak peek of its upcoming 7-year transit through Gemini by dipping in from July to November.
So a taste of what's to come in the next few years.
Exactly. You might feel a surge of independence, a desire to break free from limiting beliefs, and a renewed passion for pursuing your unique path.
Sounds like a time for Aquarians to embrace their rebellious spirit. What else can they expect in 2025?
With Pluto continuing its journey through Capricorn, your career and public image are also undergoing a transformation. You might find yourself drawn to leadership roles or stepping into a more authentic expression of your professional self.
Okay, Aquarius, get ready to shine. This year is all about owning your individuality and making your mark on the world.
And with that, we've covered all 12 signs. Remember, this is just a general overview based on your sun sign.
That's right. But hopefully this has given you a taste of the cosmic energies at play in 2025 and how they might impact your individual journey. Oh, we've covered so much today, from Mars retrograde to eclipses to Jupiter's joyful journey through Cancer. It seems like 2025 is going to be a year of both personal growth and some exciting opportunities. But how can our listeners actually use this cosmic roadmap to their advantage? Like, what's the key takeaway?
Well, that's the beauty of astrology, right? It's not about predicting the future, but about understanding the energies at play and then making conscious choices. Think of it as like having a cosmic weather forecast. I mean, you wouldn't leave the house without checking the weather, right?
Right. If it's going to rain, I'm grabbing my umbrella. So how does that translate to astrology?
Well, let's say Mercury retrograde is coming up. Okay, well, maybe you double-check those travel plans or hold off on signing any important documents until after it passes. Or, if Jupiter's entering your sign, you might feel more confident taking risks and pursuing those big goals that you've been dreaming of.
So working with the cosmic energies, not against them.
Exactly. It's about understanding your own rhythms, your cycles, and using that knowledge to navigate life with more awareness and intention. For example, if you tend to get a little more introspective during Venus retrograde, well, maybe you schedule some extra self-care time or use that energy to, reflect on your relationships.
I love that. It's like having a cheat sheet for understanding yourself and the world around you.
Well, maybe not a cheat sheet, but it's definitely a powerful tool for self-awareness and growth. And remember, while we focused on your sun sign today, there's so much more to discover within your unique birth chart.
Yes. If our listeners are feeling inspired to learn more, where can they go to explore their birth chart in more detail?
Oh, there are so many great resources available online and through, professional astrologers. You can easily find websites and apps that will calculate your birth chart and provide interpretations. And if you're looking for a more personalized reading, I always recommend connecting with a qualified astrologer who can offer deeper insights and guidance.
Great advice. And remember, everyone, this is just the beginning of our astrological journey together. We'll be back with more deep dives throughout the year, exploring different aspects of astrology and how it can enrich our lives.
Absolutely. We'll be looking at love, career, finances, and, well, so much more. So stay tuned, keep your eyes on the stars, and remember, you are the author of your own story.
Beautifully said. Until next time, may your journey be filled with cosmic wonder.